Welcome, everyone. I'm Heather Vitale, and thank you so much for tuning into Harness Racing Updates 2's in Training, sponsored by Blue Chip Farms and Winback Farm of Ontario. With countless accolades on his resume, Irv Miller is without a doubt one of the most successful trainers in harness racing, and one of the most successful sires. From past champions to parenting, from future superstars to Florida. We've got a lot to cover in this edition of 2's in Training.
Winback Farm of Ontario is proud to welcome 4 exciting new stallions for 2020. Jimmy Freight's a 2018 O'Brien Award winner and the winner of the Dayton Pacing Derby and Mohawk Gold Cup. Nick Wicked's a 2018 Horse of the Year in U.S. and Canada, the richest pacing stallion in harness racing history. Stag Party's a 2018 O'Brien Award winner and the winner of the Metro Pace. And The Bank, son of 2 millionaires, Donato Hanover and Lantern Kronos, and a Breeders' Crown and Stanley Dancer champion. For more information, visit winbackfarm.com. That's winbackfarm.com.
Hey everyone, Heather Vitale here, and I am here with Irv Miller. I am in Delaware, Irv is in Pennsylvania, and now he has been wintering in Florida. But Irv, you have brought all of your horses back up now to the north, is that right?
All of them are back in PA, but 2 loads are coming Wednesday. I wish I was as excited as you are. You are wound up.
I'm always a little bit wound up when I do these. I'm passionate about the sport. I don't know what else to say about that. And
I'm passionate. I'm passionate about the sport, but I'd like to race somewhere.
Oh no, I'm totally with you. Things are opening up though, which is really, really great. And now that you're back up north, wait, before we get to that, because we are going to talk about the different places you're racing, I want to know about Florida. I want to know about how it is to winter in Florida, because really, with COVID-19 happening, that was kind of the place to be, right?
Right, I think it was. From what I listened to everybody talk, and from us being up here in Pennsylvania now, there's not that much going on yet. In Florida, we were down for a month or so. And one of the things I noticed at the training center, wasn't hardly anybody coming to see the horses train. But as far as the local community, it slowed down a little bit. Restaurants shut down. We couldn't go out to our favorite place to eat. But that only lasted whatever. I think they opened about 2 weeks ago. And they're back to about 50%. And things were really moving when we left down there.
One thing about you being in Florida, though, and this is before COVID happened, I noticed that you keep very busy during the wintertime. You actually have a couple horses that you use in parades, and you have a school that comes out to your barn. And that is amazing. Tell me about this. Every year, these kids come out to see you?
Yeah, it's one of our friends from tennis. She's a school teacher for these handicapped kids. And it's been, I think, 5 or 6 years ago, she asked us if she could bring them out. And we said, absolutely. That'd be a lot of fun. We'd make some adjustments around the barn to make sure we'd be done, or pretty much done by the time they show up. And we keep the horses away from them. But the kids just, their smiles and having fun. And then my little ponies this year just topped it off. They just loved having the rides on the pony cart and stuff. So
I love that so much. That's one of the things about just thank you, because that's a
Yeah, but
grassroots kind
it's
of
really
deal.
more fun for us than it is for the kids, We just have a good time with it too, and just it's a blessing to watch them kids smile that much. So
When it comes to the whole COVID-19 thing, was there any difference in your training? Because I know you've got 2-year-olds, you have 3-year-olds, and then you have some older horses as well.
yeah, the horses that were in the north that had been racing at Yonkers and stuff. Of course, we backed off of them and give them a little break and stuff where we didn't work them much for a couple of weeks there because we thought it'd only be a couple of weeks, and now it's going on what 2.5 months or so, and time to get back to racing for them. But we've got everybody back about ready to go, so hopefully that'll change here pretty quick.
I grew up in harness racing. So I've heard my whole life about how Irv Miller grew up in an Amish community. And I need to know more about that. So when people say that, are we talking like legit you didn't have cars, plumbing? Like, this is a legit question. What is the deal with that? You are Amish?
We right. We grew up Amish. Andy and I did. My mother still is Amish and lives in Arthur, Illinois, and we're concerned about her. But she lives with one of our sisters there, and they have a really good knit family thing where she's a little older. She lives there with just our sister and her family. They kind of take care of her, so they get all her groceries and everything through this. And she's just been staying home and pretty much isolating herself with her age. And so far, they haven't had any trouble with it. And that's how we grew up. But we did have plumbing, but we didn't have any electricity, no cars, no TV. And it's just a way of life. When you grow up that way, you don't realize that there's other people that live the other way, how much different that is. So
That's amazing. Then how did you get into racing?
I always tell the story that my dad used to be a carpenter, and then he was a drywall delivery guy, and he'd make deliveries for drywall stuff. And we'd stop by the county fairs when county fairs were going on in Illinois. He liked harness racing. We'd stop by the county fairs, and I said, "You mean people make a living doing that?" And Dad got a let's go see him. And then I went to work 2 weeks out of eighth grade for the biggest breeding farm in Illinois at the time, which was Lincoln Land Farms, which is Walker's now. That's how I got involved in horse racing.
Okay, all right. You mentioned Andy, and we want to mention him as well. Andy Miller, of course, another successful harnessman. And so that is your brother. And I interviewed Marcus once, and the way he explained it, because there are a lot of Millers in harness racing. So the way Marcus explained it was the purple Millers are not related to you. Is that like, here we go? Even I understood that.
The purple Millers aren't related to the Amish Millers because they drink too much beer than purple Millers.
Oh my,
So
well, if
make
I
sure
ever
and
get
tell Dave I
accused,
said that.
I was just going there. I was just going there. All right. Now, speaking of Marcus, of course, we know that you are the dad of Marcus Miller, who is one of the top catch drivers in the business. Also, Marcus, of course, represented the United States in the World Driving Championship. And, also, gosh, Hannah Miller. We've got Hannah Miller, and there's Marcus there. We see Marcus, so awesome. Not only can we say is a great driver or a great driver, but also a great guy. We've got Hannah Miller as well. She's one of the top amateur drivers in the business. Also represented the United States in a World Driving Championship. So with those two
Very
offspring,
proud of. You're right. Very proud of both of them. They really picked up the horse end of it. So they both got a real easy hand for a horse and are doing very well.
so, okay, the big question though is, do we credit the sire in this, or do we credit the dam, aka your wife Heidi?
Right. She gets the credit for being both of them being great kids. I get the credit for the horseman part of it.
All right, fair enough. And we would be in huge trouble, by the way, if we did not mention Magnus, because Magnus is the grandson. Oh, here we see a video. Look at that little guy. Every time I watch
He's a
this, I can't
trooper,
help but giggle.
right? He's gonna help. Doesn't matter if you want him to or not. He's helping. He's helping
Well,
with
I can
everything
tell
at the
you,
barn.
when I asked Hannah and Marcus about you, and I said, "Give me some things your dad likes," that was it. Magnus. So that is so awesome. I
Yeah.
mean, isn't it great being a granddad?
Oh, great. Better than probably anything else you can do.
My mom always said she would have done it earlier. If she knew how much fun it was being a grandparent, she would have done it earlier.
I
I don't know
said
all about
if I'd
that,
have
right?
known, I'd have known how much fun it was being a grandparent, I'd have had more kids. Right.
All right. No, exactly. So, I am homeschooling because of this whole COVID-19 thing, and I have got two boys of my own. So I'm looking, before you write your Irv Miller parenting book, all right, because you've been so successful, give me some parenting advice. And everybody out there watching, what is your best parenting advice?
This is what it it's better caught than taught. The kids that they'll catch
What?
more from what you do than what you teach them. You
Okay,
get
all
that?
right.
It's
No,
better
but I
caught
will
than
think
taught.
about that. All right. Well, if you decide to quit harness racing, and want to be a nanny, I'm your first person. You give me a call. I walk through the door. I'll be
Uh,
like, "Hey, boys, I got a nanny for you. It's
yeah, right.
Irv
That's what I said. Send them back to the Amish land. Let them be raised in the Amish homes.
Miller." Exactly. I'm just about to. I'm just about to. Oh my goodness. All
Right.
right. So we're going to talk about some of your champions that you've had, because of course you've been a trainer of the year before. You have countless champions. So we're going to touch on a few. First of all, loyal opposition. Let's talk about her, because, like, how do you not, right? She has been a two-time Dan Patch Award winner. She's been a Pacing Mirror of the Year 2004 and 2005, a double millionaires. Just tell me, like, what was it like to train her and being a part of her life?
She was easy. She was an easy mare to train. You had to be a little cautious with her because she didn't want her feelings hurt too bad. But she had so much ability. She was just a naturally made, natural gait, natural. She'd do everything. She was an easy horse to train.
The next one I want to talk about is Lizmera, of course. 2006 Pacing Horse of the Year. Another, like, millionaire. Actually, I think he's a double millionaire. Yeah, 2.1 million. And I want to mention also, he has a mark of 147 and 3. And that was kind of before 147 and 3 was like a thing. It seems like everybody's doing that now, but he was doing it before other horses. So give me some insight on him. Like, what was the experience of, like, having him as part of your barn?
Oh, he was a nice horse. When Mike Galata had me go look at him, I just looked at him over the stall door. I was actually in a hurry to get somewhere that day, and looked at him over the stall door. The guy walked him out, looked at him in the shed row a minute, and I told Mike, "That's your horse right there. He just was made the way you need a horse to go fast made." And then when we got him, he just turned right into a horse right away. He just needed a little work and a few changes made. He didn't breathe right at first, and we made some bridle changes on him, and he was just a different horse.
I'm glad that you mentioned Mike, because actually, didn't Lismara like build homes in Haiti or something like that, right? Didn't he? I mean,
Yeah,
Mike
yeah.
with
Mike did
Lismara
that
gave a
with him
lot
when
to
he was
charity.
doing. Mike Galata did a lot with that horse when he was, when he was moving good. The horse, he did a lot. It was too bad the horse didn't make a better sire than he was, because he did at one point. I think he'd went like 10 miles better than 48 or 49 or something. He'd went a lot of miles right in a row that were the fastest of history at the time.
I mean, when I go back and I look at like different races and something pops up, YouTube knows what you're watching. You know what I mean? And like something will pop up, and I'm like, well, it was Mara race, and I'll watch it, and I just think, wow, it just, I mean, still, you watch
Right
those
back,
races, and a horse like that takes your breath away.
right back in the day, that was a big mile for him. The miles he went, a lot
Yeah.
of miles.
So I got this list here. We're not going to go through everything, like every champion that you've trained, but we've got Muscle Mash, Shady Shark Hanover, Classic Photo, Naughty to the End. But I do want to mention one more. And of course, it's Man of Many Missions. And I want to mention him because I kind of feel like he was the one that really kept you on your toes,
Kept you on your toes. He did something. He kept you on the side of your seat, because he was a hard horse to train. He wasn't very sound, and he wasn't the as his folds are actually better gaited than he was. He had a good gait, but he just hit. You couldn't stop him from hitting because he was so wide up front. But he was a
Well,
really
also,
fast horse. At the
oh
time when he
yeah,
won the Breeders' Crown at Poconos, that was when Noel Daly scratched his horse, and we drew the 9-0. We didn't even think we had a shot, and he wins wins Breeders' Crown and track record.
and when he was good, he was great.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very fast.
Another millionaire, and won the Kentucky Futurity, like one of those horses that you think back and you're like, yeah,
He was
I
one
did
that
that because,
he just could. Yeah, he could overcome everything. It just seemed like he overcame everything that bothered him or whatever. He just overcame everything.
so what we're going to do now is we've talked about some past champions. Now we're going to move toward the future a little bit by checking out some stats of yours from just this past season from 2009. So we've got 1,117 starts, 217 wins, 183 seconds, 137 thirds, and 4.3 million in purses earned this past year in 2009. When you look at those numbers, you got to feel pretty good about that.
Yeah, not bad. Always wish things were better. Wish they'd have been a little better last year. Our 2-year-old string was pretty shallow last year. We didn't have much for 2-year-olds. Our 2-year-olds were a little light. We had one good mare in Indiana, Rock Swan, was phenomenal last year, but the rest of them, our 2-year-olds weren't that top end.
We're definitely going to talk about Rock Swan. Uh, but before we do, I want to get some other numbers from you. And so, as a whole, so how many horses are you training? How many are in the Irv Miller stable? And can we do sort of a breakdown of 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, older horses? You don't have to be perfect, by the way. We're okay with just,
Yeah, you did. You
with
need to
just,
tell me this ahead of time. Yeah, there's about 20 head out in Indiana, and probably 12 of them are 2-year-olds. The rest of them are 3-year-olds. So I don't think we might have one 4-year-old out there. And then here in PA, we've got, I think there's going to be around maybe 85 or so, 85 or 90, and probably 45 of them are babies. The rest of them are either
okay.
3-year-olds, or there's probably 10 or 12 older horses that race here too.
Okay. Whenever I do this live remote, I never have a calculator with me, so I have to do it in my head. We know it's over 120 something horses know. We know
It,
it's a lot.
it's enough, right? Yeah, it's enough.
All right. We're going to talk about Rock Swan now because we want to check out a couple of those horses that turned 3 here in 2020. Rock Swan, you mentioned. What an amazing little filly she is, right? This trotting filly. She had 11 starts last year, 9 wins with 2 seconds. She made almost 400 grand last year. She is at mark of 155 and 4. And I want to mention, down at Southern Oaks Trotting Center where you winter, she did a little prep and she's already gone in 156. So Rock Swan not only was so great last year, but she looks really good for this year.
She's come back really good. She's just had a really good winter down there, and we thought with the COVID thing going on and everything, we'd get one qualifier in down at Florida, and then probably 1 or 2 more when we get to Indiana when they get going. So hopefully it looks like Indiana's going to get started out there here the first part of June. So I think when they get started, I think she's the one that's probably ready to go. So.
All right, good deal. Because I know she has a huge fan club. So a lot of people on social media have been talking about her. So I'm really excited about seeing her race, like a lot of people are. A genius man. Oh, I'm sorry.
I was just
What
going
were
to
you
say
going to
she's
say?
really
There's
filled
like
out.
a lull, so everybody knows that.
Right. She really filled out and looks good, Rock Swan did for this year. So she's one that's growed up better. Sometimes 3-year-olds just kind of come back medium. They don't really do much, but she really did fill out and looks the part. So.
All right. Awesome. We're going to talk about Genius Man now. Okay. So last year he takes a mark of 152 and 2. He is a pacing colt by Art Major. And want to mention again, since you guys get those preps in at Southern Oaks, he's actually done a couple of miles in 152.
Right. He's one of the 2-year-olds that was what I said, just didn't perform last year like I thought. When I trained him down, I thought he was one of the best colts that I'd ever trained. I mean, he trained just phenomenal. And then he come up, and when we started racing him, it was just, I thought a few of the horses were that way last year. They were just a little bit flat. I don't know if something happened. We had a little bug go through at the barn at the wrong time or what, but he did. He had the first start or two, he wasn't quite as good, and then he just never ended up. He's come back real good this year. Hopefully he races better than what he did last year.
Well, it is interesting that you are saying that because, all right, usually what is supposed to happen is I am supposed to be talking about horses that really excelled as a 2-year-old. And then we talk about them, how you think they're going to do as a 3-year-old, right? But the horse I want to talk about now did okay as a 2-year-old, but I'm making the executive decision on Two's in Training to talk about her because I love her and I want to see how you feel about her. And it's Coconut Kate. Okay, so first of all, she only had 1 win last year, but it was at Lexington, and I thought it was a really great win. Also, I do want to mention that her mother is Copacabana, and that is my go-to karaoke song. So we should get that out there. She's a Donato Hanover filly, but she prepped at Southern Oaks so good.
You got a little more reason to talk about her then, but she has come back and qualified really good this year. Last year she was a little immature. She just really wouldn't get ready all the way, wouldn't finish up, but we didn't pay a lot for her, so we just kept kind of going along a little bit with her and thinking she might get a little better, but she really didn't finish up last year, but she seems to be a lot better this year. So she qualified real nice down there a couple times. I think she went 56 down there, something, which is a pretty good mile on that farm track there.
How much did you pay for her?
Not much, 10,000, 15,000, something like that.
Okay. I'm putting it out there. I think this is the Irv Miller sleeper for 2020. I hope you have her staked for everything.
I hope you're right. I hope you're right.
I hope I am too. because otherwise my bosses are going to be calling me like, so what were you talking about? So, but I do love
Right.
coconut cake. So that's all good. All right. So we're going to move to the 2-year-olds. And of course, we want to mention that you are one of those people who are very active at yearling sales, obviously. But one of the things that you do is you're not just active at Lexington and Harrisburg. So, I see you buy horses at the Hoosier sale. What's your process and, getting ready for the yearling sales?
Well, I look at a lot of yearlings. I probably look at I don't know, a couple thousand yearlings or something every year. And my process is to try to buy the most affordable horse that I think can make a great horse and not spend crazy money for it. That way, because I like getting some of my dollars in the game, and I don't want to pay just a crazy astronomical amount for horses, because for me to get out on them, it's just too hard to do that. So I try to keep it a reasonable number. And that's why I look at so many horses, because I want to try to find that needle in the haystack that can do something like Coconut Kate,
Exactly like Coconut Kate.
Right.
So what no, that I'm glad you mentioned that. As far as like, you are one of those trainers that does, take the money and invest it back, which is always a good thing, because like, who really wants to race for
And
5%,
it's let me speak here. It's always a good thing, except for this year when COVID-19 hits. Then it's not a good thing. Hopefully, we'll
It's
get
gonna
a
work for
race
us
in there
though.
pretty soon and be better. Right.
That, yeah, we will. Things are opening up, so it's all gonna be
Right.
good. It's
I agree.
it's all gonna be
I
good.
agree. Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
yeah. Um, I like to ask this of my guests. So, like, if we're coming down to pedigree or confirmation, what is it for you?
I mean, you got to have both, but a lot of times I do confirmation probably over pedigree. I've had a lot of,
Yeah,
like loyal opposition, that didn't have a lot of pedigree there, and didn't have anything else in the family really do anything, but she was a great maiden mare, and she did a lot for us. So
yeah, yeah. No, great example. All right, so now we're gonna head to it is twos in training, so we do have to talk about 2-year-olds. First of all, we're going to start out with the trotters. How about the Papa Bear, who is a Swan for All colt out of Sierra Glide, $34,000 at Lexington. And actually, the original name of this horse is Volcano Volo. And I'm just kind of wondering, because you had a horse named Grandma Heidi. So that's obviously had to have been for your wife. Is the Papa Bear named after you?
not that I know of. I didn't rename him, and
Oh.
I don't think so. Tom,
Oh,
Tony Lombardi
okay.
renamed him, so he must be the Papa Bear.
Just asking. All right, good to know. Tell me about this horse. What'd you like about this horse, and how's it training down?
He's just a really nice Swan for All colt. He's a big colt, but he hits the ground real nice and easy, gets over the ground easy. Um, just a lot in what I saw in him when we had turned him out here at the farm. He just moved real easy, and for a big colt, he handles himself well, and he hasn't, knock on wood, he hasn't had a lot of soundness issues so far.
All right. How about Swift Swanda? This is another Swan for All, but this is a filly, and she's out of Cheetah Hall. She was $80,000 at Hoosier.
Yeah, she was a really gorgeous filly at the sale. I thought one of the best looking fillies at the Hoosier sale, and that's why I picked her out. They wanted a top horse there, and she's had just a little bit of immaturity. She's really growing a lot, but she does her work easy. Got a great attitude. Moves well into another horse. When you're moving her, she wants to go with the other horse, and that's a good sign for a big Swan for All. Some of them are a little lazy and don't have the want to it, but she seems to.
I'm looking at her. Oh my gosh. Like between the yearling video and that picture, she is like gorgeous. Look at that color on her.
She's really a
Uh,
black,
uh,
beautiful mare.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. I'm one of those girly girls. I'm all about the beauty contest here when it comes to horses. Not a good thing when you're in harness racing. I realize that. I'm just
Exactly.
being honest.
They don't pay the bills.
That's right. That's right. All right, let's check out Miss Zelda. This is an explosive matter filly. Sophia Let's Go is her mom. $32,000 from Lexington.
Yeah, she's another filly that's just got a great attitude, and we bought her kind of late in the sale at Lexington. Somebody pointed her out to me. I went and looked at her again after I'd looked at her originally, and started liking her video a little more and the way she moves. So we took a shot at her, and so far it looks like it's going to pay off. She's really, really every part of what she needs to be at this point. We've been some nice miles with her, and she does it easy.
Yeah, isn't that funny? Sometimes you're like absolutely not looking at something, and then, somebody says, "Hey, let's check her out again." Or, you go back that second time, and then that's the one. The universe is talking to you.
Actually, Greg Wright at home pointed her out a little more, and that's Bill Wright, the guy that owned part of Classic Photo with me, son, and he really liked her. So I said, "Well, we'll take another look," and I'm glad we got her. So
Very cool. All right. Night Owl Hanover. That's our next one. It's an L Titan Colt. And I'm out of Netflix Hanover, who was a $67,000 purchase from Harrisburg. So tell me about him.
this colt has just done everything right from the minute we broke him. He's never had a bad day. He's never, I don't know that he's ever, maybe one break his whole training career. He's just not, doesn't do anything wrong. He goes through the motions and does everything you want him to. And it's kind of, I've never trained an EL Titan before, so I didn't know what I was getting into too much. But he really, real easy to shoe. Didn't need any special shoeing or anything. And he just, so far, he's something that we like because he just does his work well.
All right, we're going to head on to a Kane Gang, and that is a Chapter 7 Colt. And he is out of a Can Frisco, an $80,000 Harrisburg purchase.
This colt we bought at Harrisburg, like you said, at Harrisburg, and I just, because the Chapter 7s were bringing so much money, I didn't figure we'd touch him. I thought he'd bring quite a bit more money than what we wanted to spend on one, because up there around 80 or 100 is kind of our top number. We don't go over that too much. So, but the colt's just done everything we've asked. He's not real big, but he's very compact, and he gets the work done easy. Never really has all training season. He hadn't had much soundness trouble. He's really just developed into a really nice horse.
All right, we're going to move to some Pacers now. We're going to start out with a filly, and her name is Bossy Linda. And this is a Roll with Joe filly out of Ideal Ginny. This is a homebred. And I want to mention, I noticed that actually her half brother is rocking Jimmy Brown, right? And you train him as well?
Her brother is rocking Jimmy Brown, which is, he's just a horse. He's kind of a big, strong horse like she was, but he wasn't near as good gaited, and he hit his knee a bit. This filly is just fabulously gaited and has just got a nice mind on her. And she's actually out of a sister to that Ideal Jimmy. Ideal Jimmy that we race at Yonkers. That's done its. He made 260 last year, early in the year, and he was PA Sire Stake champion a couple of years ago. And it's a good family. Don Van Witzenberg owns them, and with George Colombus, and they're just good guys. They breed these horses.
All right. All right. The next one is actually one of our first year sires. Okay, so we've got a JK end of an era colt, and it is a Raylan Jennings. This is another one, by the way, who I just think he is a beautiful out of Cinnamon Girl, a $92,000 Hoosier Classic buy.
Right. That's a lot for me to spend on a 2-year-old pacing colt, because I've had that so many. But we own part of that one with Heidi and I do with Robert McCormick and them, and he's just been a phenomenal colt in the barn. He just does everything you want. We worked him pretty good down there. Hasn't had any problems. So knock on wood, he'll be ready to go when the season opens at Hoosier Park.
I have seen pictures of him and video, and look at him there. He's so adorable. And he looks so good on the track. And by the way, I guess we should mention this is actually Cinnamon Girl's first foal, isn't it?
He is Cinnamon Girl's first foal. I actually had her for just a little bit for the people that bred her there. They wanted to try to get a better mark on her or something. She was a nice man.
Okay. All right. So the last 2-year-old that we're going to talk about is Captain Sleaze. All right. Of course, we got to talk about this family. It's a rock and roll dance, first of all. That's his sire out of a Sleazy. This is a homebred half brother to Sleazy Does It, the Sleazy Princess, Uptown Sleaze, and a Sleazy Gal who is now 3. And you're training a Sleazy Gal. Now, the interesting thing is, like, okay, this is the 9th foal out of the Sleazy one, but this is her first rock and roll dance.
Yeah, Marty Engel owns the mare, and he bred her in PA just because I was out there training. He wanted to send something out to race out there. He bred her out there because Illinois was on the down slope. So when he sent him to us, we really liked him. He was really a nice gated colt and everything. But he's just really stepped up to even more than what you thought, because he just doesn't do anything wrong. He stays good and sound, and hopefully he'll finish up the way he's trained down.
All right, hopefully. We have, as if you haven't been questioned enough by me, we have viewer questions coming up. We're going to take a quick little break, all right? And then we're going to come back, and we've got some viewer questions for Irv Miller. So we'll be right back.
Winback Farm of Ontario is proud to welcome 4 exciting new stallions for 2020. Jimmy Freight's a 2018 O'Brien Award winner and the winner of the Dayton Pacing Derby and Mohawk Gold Cup. Nick Wicked's a 2018 Horse of the Year in US and Canada, the richest pacing stallion in harness racing history. Stag Party's a 2018 O'Brien Award winner and the winner of the Metro Pace. And The Bank, son of 2 millionaires, Donato Hanover and Lantern Kronos, and a Breeders' Crown and Stanley Dancer champion. For more information, visit winbackfarm.com. That's winbackfarm.com.
No. Okay, thank you. To our sponsors, of course, Winback Farm of Ontario, Blue Chip Farm. I told Irv, all right, a complete lie. I did not mean to lie to him. I said I was done asking questions, but actually I have not, because during the commercial, I thought of 2 more. So, first of all, racquetball. Tell me about that. You play racquetball? Like this is like an Irv Miller gem that I did not know, and I'm not sure that other people out there knew. So tell me about your racquetball deal going on.
I love to play racquetball. Actually, somebody else you probably don't know that plays racquetball in the sport is Mike Galata. I've played Mike Galata before in racquetball. But I like playing racquetball, and it's a great exercise. And because of the COVID-19 again, we got shut down a couple months ago, so I'm pretty out of shape for that. But I love to play. It's a great sport, great exercise.
Good for you, because I would not even attempt to play racquetball. I'm so uncoordinated. So, that's awesome. Now, my second question, before we actually get to our viewer questions, is I know that Hannah is getting married. So, yeah, who's paying for that wedding?
Right. We've had enough time to save up for it, so we're ready for it to get made.
Exactly. That's a great answer. That's a great answer. Okay,
Yep.
so we have got our first question here, our first viewer question. It is from Mike Gallo. And it says, now, speaking of Hannah, hello. Now that your lovely daughter Hannah is dedicated 100% of her time to the Miller stable, do you see her and your son Marcus taking over when you're ready to retire or slow down a bit?
I think that yeah, Hannah might. She likes the barn. She likes training. She likes taking care of the horses a lot and stuff. I think Marcus likes the driving end of it better. So I'm sure the way Hannah, she when she takes something on to do it, she does it wholeheartedly. So I'm sure she could take over the barn anytime I wanted her to.
All right. All right, let's check out our next question. It is from David Ritchie, and he says, I understand you have several horses who are capable of winning the Breeders' Crown this year. What makes them so special?
It's like I tell the owners, which Dave Ritchie is one of the owners. I tell them if I knew which horses were going to win the Breeders' Crown, I wouldn't need owners to own them. But we have some really nice horses. Some of the ones you guys showed were some of them, and that special horse has to have everything between now and the Breeders' Crown go very well to hit that day right. Plus the Breeders' Crown, but we have some really nice horses, and I think because it's in Indiana, we have some nice Indiana breds. I think we have a really good shot at doing some good in the Breeders' Crowns.
Yeah, that's right. The Breeders' Crown's in Indiana, Hoosier Park this year. That's so exciting. I know the last time that they hosted it, it was like full out incredible. Unfortunately, the weather was horrible, but they did
Right, but
an unbelievable job.
they right they do a phenomenal job out there. They did a great job that night, even with the bad weather.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I'm excited about, going back out this year, whether I have one or not. And that is one of the things I don't think people understand. It does, like when they say it all comes down to the Breeders' Crown, to have a horse that starts out the year really well to all the way to the end of the fall and ends up winning the Breeders' Crown. That's a huge feat. I almost feel like it's overlooked.
Right, I think a lot of people don't realize how much goes into keeping a horse that sharp all year if you have that right horse. But you got to have a really nice horse, a really iron horse. And the thing is, there's so many of them. It just takes a special horse to get it done today.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, the next question, because we have got more. All right, we've got Frank Chick asks, oh, wait, hold on, wait. Which question are we up to? Charles Foster. I'm sorry. All right. Charles Foster is always up on this show. He always gets his questions in. Is there a trotting or pacing sire that you would say is undervalued? Whose yearlings often perform well beyond their purchase price?
The one that just pops to mind is Explosive Matter. I thought Explosive Matters were always a little valued horses for what they sold for, but I don't know anything. It seems like if there's any out of a real good mare, even some of the other sires, it's hard to buy them unless you pay top dollar for them. So
Okay.
Explosive
Now we've
Matter
got
would be my
Frank.
pick
I'm
for the
sorry.
trotters. I said
Okay.
Explosive
All
Matter
right.
would be mine for trotters. Yeah.
All right. You heard it here first. I love getting exclusives right here on Twos in Training. You know what I'm saying? So, Herb Miller said it. Okay, now we've got the Frank Chick question. It is, how fast do you train 2-year-olds before you start them?
It depends a lot on the horse. Some horses we train fairly fast before we race them, and some, if they're not the soundest 2-year-olds and seem like they struggle with a little soundness issues and stuff. Some of those we don't train more than 2, 4, or 5, but most of them we train them some pretty nice miles before we qualify
Okay.
them. And
All right.
as fast as they qualify or better, yeah.
Next up is Daryl Wazinski asks, and Daryl, I hope I'm saying your name right. What is your opinion of the trotter named Yes? Oh, I already love this question. I'm so glad you asked this. Okay, if Yonkers does not open soon, where would Yes be raced? Because, oh my gosh, this horse, I think recently, didn't he have just like 4 wins in a row? He was doing so well. So yeah, we need an
he
update on Yes.
he was a really nice horse that Yonkers for us last winter. And Anthony McDonald's idea was to race him into the 4-year-old year early here. And then, of course, COVID shut us down. But race him a little bit longer and then give him a break through the summer and bring him back late 4 and early 5, which made sense to me. So we were going to do that. And then COVID shut us down, and the horses actually turned out to grow up already. So he won't be back racing before Yonkers opens, I'm sure. So I would say he'd make most of his living at Yonkers because he's really good on a half.
All right. So he's turned out now. All right. So he's a 5 now, I think. Is that wait,
No,
how
he's
old is
just
Yes
4.
now?
He's
Oh,
4.
he's
He's
just
missing
4.
his 4-year-old year right now. So he's coming in, I think,
Okay.
the middle of June. So coming back into training the
Okay.
middle of June, I think.
Okay. Okay.
So
Oh,
he'll
good.
be
I'll look
back
forward to
ready.
seeing him.
He'll be back ready to go like in October or something this fall. So that'll be just right. So Yonkers will be back
Okay.
going by then, I'm sure.
Fingers crossed. I mean, like,
Right.
yeah, better be by then. All right.
Exactly.
Next question. Yeah. David Foster asks, do you have any first crop always be Mickey? If so, what are your thoughts?
Well, I started out with a filly that I thought was the top filly in the barn. I thought she was our best filly, and then she come up with some foot issues, and I don't know if she had an abscess in her foot or something going on. Took us a while to get her over that, and she's having a little time coming back to that form where I think she's the best one. She's a really nice filly, but she's struggling with her feet a little bit. And then the colt hasn't had any soundness issues. Big, nice, good gaited colt, but we've been right along close to where the rest of them have been, but I'm not quite as high on him as I was on the filly.
Okay. All right. The next one, we just have a couple more to go here. Jeff Cantine asks, if you could only train and race 2-year-olds or aged horses, which would you choose and why?
Well, I'm a 2-year-old colt trainer, so I've done that my whole life, and it's because the money's there, I guess, is why I'm a 2-year-old colt trainer. But I like seeing the young horses develop more than training old race horses. But the race horses have been such a good supported entity out here on the East Coast that I started keeping more race horses around again. But the 2-year-olds are by far my favorite.
Yeah, talking about that, so I know you've got the PA, you said you've got the PA stable and you've got the Indiana stable, right? So those are the 2 stables, even though you're racing in jurisdictions everywhere.
Right, but that's where we keep the base of it. Out here in Pennsylvania, you can race in New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware. I mean, you can race all those places from where we're located out here before COVID-19. Hopefully, we can again here soon. And then a Hoosier, of course, we can't race from here out there, so we keep a barn at Indianapolis at the fairgrounds to keep the horses that race at Hoosier Park going. Actually, we have a few Illinois breds again this year that are going to race in Illinois. We thought when they pass the slots, we'd start getting back to that area, but so far it doesn't look good for Illinois.
All right. Well, I think we have a question also from our viewers on Facebook. Is that right? All right. And I mean, and this is the question of the night. How far can you
Right.
hit a golf ball, ... straight from Paul Kelly?
This is the hardest question. It's that last part, that straight part. If it wasn't for the straight part, we could talk about it, because I can hit a golf ball pretty far, but the straight's a little out of control. But it's a good sport. I like playing in Florida.
I mean, so how far is it? I mean, like, is it 2 feet?
I can
Is it
hit one
20
part.
feet? Oh my
How
gosh!
far how far can you hit one?
I'm not bad. I don't play a lot of golf, but when I play, I can actually hit it pretty straight. Yeah. So
If I hit one good, I hit one about 320. If I hit it good.
That's really far.
That is far.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, when talking back to what we said earlier, when I hire you to come work and become my nanny and get my kids straight, we will also play golf, and it will be a whole deal going on, and I will find out actually how good you are at golf. So
I'm not that good. I don't play enough.
it has been so much fun having you on Twos in Training. Before we go, though, of course, I have to give a plug to Harness Racing Update. You guys out there, if you're watching, if you are not subscribed to Harness Racing Update, subscribe. It is free, harnessracingupdate.com. Thank you to our sponsors, Blue Chip Farm, Winback Farm of Ontario, and thank you, Irv Miller. It has been a pleasure. I've had so much fun with you.
Thank you too. Thanks, you guys.
Thanks, guys, for watching. Have a great night.
Thanks.
Harness Racing Update is the sport's most comprehensive and trusted news source and the fastest growing publication in the game. HRU has you covered with award-winning features and commentary from some of the sport's best writers. Stellar photography, race news, results, entries, handicapping, and video replays. The industry's most comprehensive sales results and Harness Racing's best reader feedback section. And it's all delivered free of charge to your email box multiple times each week. See why HRU is the most trusted news source of the sport's most important people from all facets of the industry. Subscribe today for free. To subscribe, just go to harnessracingupdate.com and then click subscribe for free.